Go ahead.
Hi, this is April.
And this is Cherie.
And this is
The Spiral Show.
Straight out of Diamond Style.
This is the Spiral Show. This is the Spiral Show. This is the Spiral Show. This is the Spiral
You ever heard?
Today we're going to be talking about prescription medication, legalizing marijuana, and corporal punishment in schools. And so our first topic will be prescription medications, our views on it, and what we think about it. I am pro medications as long as it's not 20 meds for a patient, 30, like maybe one or two just to get them balanced. And I believe it has to go with counseling and just balanced diets or whatever. But I am in favor of prescription medications.
And I am not in favor of mainstream prescription medications. And most people that know me know that I don't even take Advil. I don't take Tylenol. I don't take anything that's chemically manufactured in a lab. I do not take it. And I have never been in favor of prescription medications. Even since a young child, I knew that something was not right about taking something that was genetically and chemically modified and putting it into your body. However, I didn't know about other alternatives to those things at the time, even when I was younger. I just thought that, something's not right about this, but I don't really necessarily know what to do about it.
Right.
I think that in my opinion, the reason why people use prescription medications, and when I say prescription medications, I mean mainstream prescription medications. Those are the things that are massively produced by the drug company.
Like Celexa, Paxil, Depakote,
Advil, Tylenol, aspirin, all of your main, things that people typically use. Some ibuprofen, which people use every day.
Neurontin.
Right. So I think that the main reason why people use those drugs is they don't know any better. They don't know any different. And those that do know differently don't want to put in the work that it takes in order to cleanse out their body and start new with natural herbs and remedies for the issues that they have. Because all of these drugs originally came from them extracting from plants to get the ingredients to make these drugs. That's how they started out. A lot of them started out with opiates or opium, which is a plant. It comes from a plant. So nowadays they actually genetically modify or have synthetic opium in the plant. So they create their own. They create something that has the effect of opium rather than using the actual plant, because if they use the plant, it would have wiped out a lot of. They wouldn't be able to produce it in the mass production like they have so far.
And I see where you're coming from. Some of these drugs too help average out the chemicals in your brain. Some of these meds that you take help average out the SSRI inhibitors or this or that because there's something biologically wrong with your brain.
And that's exactly what the herbs do. That's exactly what if you would have decided to go a more natural approach, you would have the same effect. It would do the same thing for you. It just actually the herbs would have begun to not only do the same thing, but repair the damage. Not just give you a quick fix to the problem. Because these medications aren't repairing the damage. They're just kind of putting things back in place or making things, convincing your brain to work the way that society thinks that your brain should work. But it doesn't fix anything. It's just tricking your brain into thinking that, in a different way other than how you've been thinking before.
Interesting. I don't know. I think drugs are okay. Prescription medication, when taken with consent and other factors, if you have a good support system at home, if you have, like I said, counseling or other things that will help you get on the right track. Now, 20 drugs, 10 drugs, if you take it to counteract this drug and that drug counteracts that drug, you're really doing nothing. You're just bringing more problems for the patient or the consumer. It's just because once you get into that trickiness, it just doesn't work.
Now, I'm not saying that prescription drugs aren't okay. I'm saying for me, I do not take them. And that's because I have a lot of knowledge about other alternatives that you can use rather than taking those prescription drugs. And I also don't feel in general that taking prescription drugs are bad. I think it's not very intelligent, but I don't think that it's bad. Like, I'm not going to ever tell somebody that you should not do something. But also, I do encourage people to make a conscious choice when you're talking about doing something. Don't just do it because a doctor tells you that this is what you should do and this is how this works. Do it because you know what that medication is about and you already know what your other alternatives can be. Because just the drug Vicodin alone has more side effects than heroin. Like, and most people don't even take the time to research that. And actually, the side effects of heroin and the side effects of Vicodin almost line up to the exact T. One's legal and one's not. Why? Because one can be controlled and one can't. Mm-hmm. Because drug cartels are taking over, have taken over street drugs like heroin. And now, as a matter of fact, now they're selling Vicodin on the streets. So I don't know how much longer Vicodin is going to be legalized too.
Vicodin probably should not be legalized.
But there's many drugs that should not. I mean, some of this stuff that's in these. I mean, the way that they create these drugs, some of that stuff should never ever go into the body. It just should not. It does nothing for you. It damages. It does not repair, and all that it does is mask symptoms so that you don't know either way whether or not you're having a symptom or not. That's all that I'm saying.
Obviously, agree to disagree on this topic. But, hey, as long as it's regulated, I'm totally for it. As long as you're working out your problems, as long as you're not going to the doctor for every single symptom you have, then I'm totally for it. Totally okay with it.
I had some research to bring here, but I realized that I don't need it now. But I'm going to post that in the description below for you guys to read. It's just basically a healthier herb-based alternatives for stuff like ibuprofen. And if you look up these herbs, you'll actually see that the enzymes from them are far more powerful than ibuprofen will ever be for you. So that's all that I have to say on that topic. Moving on to the next topic.
Moving on. Legalizing marijuana. I used to be for this topic. I was totally adamant about this topic. I wanted it to be legalized just so that I could smoke it. And that's an excuse that many people use of medical marijuana, especially. Oh, I have this problem. Especially with the medical marijuana cards now, it's, oh, I have this problem, so I'm going to go get this card so it'll be legal to smoke it. And I've seen marijuana in many families that I mean, it's not addictive in nature, but it controls their life. And I've seen kids being taken out because their parent, that's all they do, smoke it all day, don't even care about the kids, don't even care about the welfare. That's all they do, smoke it, smoke it, smoke it. I know some other people who can handle marijuana who only smoke it at the end of the day, but regardless, I think it's just like illegal pill popping or illegal like alcoholism. Like you're just gonna take it and take it and take it. Okay. Go ahead.
I apologize to everybody. I am not feeling well today. I'm very sick, but I couldn't just not do the show. My thoughts on legalizing marijuana, I don't see the problem with it. Personally, I mean, I feel like if we're going to have alcohol be illegal, or alcohol be legal, why not marijuana? Marijuana doesn't really do anything. I mean, it makes people lazy and hungry. That's all it does. People get into their cars and just drive off the road and run people over and start fights and act all kinds of crazy when they're under the influence of alcohol. But all marijuana does is make people giggle a little bit, make them lazy,
not want a job,
make them want to eat. Now, if you're gonna have the seriously, I feel like if you're gonna have the argument that marijuana should not be legalized, then you should also advocate for alcohol not being legalized.
I think in moderation, it's fine.
Well, marijuana is good in moderation.
No,
if that's the case,
no.
Why is marijuana not good in moderation?
It messes up your whole body. Your lungs get bad. All that.
But you don't have to smoke marijuana. That's a choice that somebody makes. There are many ways that you can prepare marijuana without smoking it. Marijuana is medicine. That's what it is. That's why it grows
Okay, so are we talking about legalization of medical marijuana or marijuana altogether?
No, all marijuana is medicine. It's not, you can't
But I'm just saying for this topic, are we talking about...
But you can't put marijuana in a category of medical marijuana or regular marijuana. All marijuana is medicine. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's an herb. It's a medicinal herb. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Now, in society, they say, oh, the difference is medical marijuana and there is no difference.
But are we talking about legalizing
for
medical reasons, or are we talking about just legalizing?
We're talking about legalizing in general.
So you can go to the store and just get marijuana.
If that's your choice.
What age would you limit it to?
My thing is this. I don't support the idea of having alcohol legalized but not having marijuana legalized when alcohol is far more harmful than marijuana will ever be.
But alcohol started out as a prescription too. That's why they wanted to legalize it, to legalize alcohol.
I agree.
As a prescription.
And
then it got out of control. So if we legalize it as a prescription, it could very well get out of control where no one wants to work, no one wants to do this. Everyone's coming in to work high. They don't have rules about it.
I think that that's a very, very sad idea and outlook of society as a whole. I don't think that people are that ridiculous that they just cannot control themselves and everybody's going to stop working and pandemonium is going to ensue because somebody legalized marijuana. First of all, people are already smoking and using marijuana. Mm-hmm. And it ain't going to change that much because somebody decided to legalize it. The only difference is that they're putting kids in jail for life for three defenses of smoking marijuana. They're putting kids in jail for life for that. Mm-hmm. That is ridiculous. And that is why marijuana should be legalized because no kid, for this war on drugs that they're having is absolutely and totally ridiculous. Kids are losing their lives over a fucking joint. That is beyond. I can't even understand the concept of that.
So you think kids should be able to smoke it then?
Do I think that kids should be able to smoke it? No.
But the
sentences putting somebody in prison for
no,
life
I don't
for
agree
3
with that.
Offenses,
right?
That's ridiculous.
No, I don't agree with that.
I'm sorry, but no.
I can see,
and it's completely harmless. It has never done anything to anybody. Nobody has ever overdosed on marijuana, and they have all of these other drugs that they slap their label on and say that those are okay, yet you see people overdosing and dying and having heart attacks from taking these things every single day. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't line up. It's just, to me, I find the whole thing to be ridiculous. I completely support legal. If that is the choice, we have a president that makes that choice, I will support that 100%. And that's just my opinion on it. I get really upset about it because when I think about this drug industry and how they've been pimping out and running people the way that they have, and they want to try to make money off of people who want to smoke marijuana. They want to try to make money off of those people by arresting them and putting them in prison. When they're sitting there doing the exact same thing and calling it legal with way worse drugs, they're doing the exact same thing these so-called gangsters that are doing, that are getting all these drugs together, and they're putting them across the border and all that stuff. Well, guess what? Your drug companies that you love so much, they're doing the exact same thing. They're keeping you sick so that they can make money off of you. And if you think any different, then you're just not educated on the subject.
Agree to disagree. Let's just go around to the next subject.
Go ahead.
Corporal punishment in schools. This is actually legal in 19 states. And there is a movie coming out. I think it's called Board of Education. And basically, from the previews that I've seen, it's basically teachers beating students. Like, not just a little, like, pat on the butt. They take these students out and they get a board or something with holes, or even their belt. Like, apparently on YouTube a couple of years ago, there's this weightlifter coach who was beating this kid with the weight equipment, the leather belt that they use. He was just beating him the whole time. And I don't know if parents are aware of this, that they do this to their kids. I don't know if this is why that movie is coming out, but I mean, if I found out my kid was being outrightly beat to a pulp by a teacher with an anger issue, because most of these teachers are doing it out of anger, I would not be happy. I would pull them out of school and we'd find a different school.
I actually agree with April on this subject. This is a shocker because today has not been the biggest day of agreement. But, yeah, I don't think that some of the graphic pictures that they showed of these kids with their, like, butts all bruised and arms bruised and faces bruised, and there's a fine line between discipline and harming the child. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you should harm a child, but I'm not anti whooping your kid. I think you should absolutely whoop your kids, and it takes a village to raise a child. So if the teachers want to whip your kids, so be it. However, there's a fine line there. You should not be beating a kid to the point where they got bruises on them and they can't sit for days and all of this stuff. Now, a couple of taps on the butt, I'm okay with that. I've always been okay with that. My mother whooped us when we were kids. Pretty much anybody that I know, their mother whooped them when they were kids. It never became a problem until they started with this whole CPS thing, and that is a whole nother story. But until they started, regulating what parents can do with their kids in their own homes, and then, kids are out here on the streets shooting each other up and acting all kind of crazy. So I support, whooping your kids. If you want to whoop your kids, but realize that it is illegal, mm-hmm. and they will come take your kids away, and they will arrest you. If you look at a recent article that they just did, I think it was on CNN. A woman got arrested and put in jail for spanking her kids. So, I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with it. Just don't harm the kids. If you're harming the kids, then that's an issue.
And I don't agree with spanking, but that's again another issue that we disagree on, that's fine, because this is the Spiral Show and this is what we want. I don't agree with spanking your kids because mostly it's out of anger of the parent. Most parents spank and beat their kids out of anger. And then the emotions get fly. There's this 10-year-old kid getting beat up by their parents because they're mad at something that could have been maybe verbally worked out. Because a lot of people forget, too, that verbal communication is a way to communicate with your kids in a right, and your tone is right, this and that. I mean, I've worked with kids forever, and that's how we realized how to work with them. I mean, I would never touch a kid, and I probably never will. So I just know that there's other forms of discipline out there.
You said earlier that most parents whoop their kids out of anger.
Many.
That's an interesting generalization. What made you come to that conclusion?
I've seen it. Most of my friends and stuff. Like, that's how it is.
That's how it is with most of your friends. So many people, you would be taking your group of friends and putting that as many people.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people do.
Okay.
Why else are you going to hit a kid?
My mother, she would always, before she even spanked us, she would wait like an hour and a half until she calmed down. And that's what I've always seen from any parents that I've talked to. They will wait until they calm down before they put their hit, because they don't want to be doing that out of anger. And I never felt like my mother was doing it out of anger either.
That's good.
I never felt any of that kind of energy coming from her. I felt like she was doing it because we would knock the table over and put jelly all over the house and try to burn the house down and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Now that I could understand.
Tried to burn the house down, did you?
Oh yeah, we tried to burn the house down. We sure did. As a matter of fact, Kiki tried to burn the house down. She got a whole big pile of stuff, and she got it all together, and she lit a match to it. And my mother and my father had to put that fire out themselves, fanning it off with sheets and covers and stuff, and the whole damn neighborhood was smoky because the fire trucks had to come. And, I mean, it was a mess.
That's crazy.
And in that case, heck yeah, she deserved the whooping. She should have got 2. She should have got 3. And she knew she was going to get a whooping, so she ran out the house and we didn't see her for 3 days.
Sure, she knew. Wow, that's crazy.
But that's what and I understand where April's coming from, because a lot of people think that, they're anti, you never touch a child, you never whoop a child. I get it.
I mean, maybe when I have
my own kids,
how
though. I was raised.
But
I understand that idea, and especially a lot of people who have been abused will feel that way because they're just coming off of some kind of abuse, in their childhood, and they remember how they felt when they were going through that, and they would never want that for another child. And I completely understand that way of thinking. And I can connect to that on some kind of level. But like I said, there has to be some kind of balance there.
Balance. That makes sense. Okay. I mean, that actually makes sense. I can see that.
I think that's it. Oh, I wanted to just give a really quick update on the Trayvon Martin case. George Zimmerman was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Well, that's it for our show. Thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share, please comment.
Please comment.
Please. The subscribe button is actually on top of the video.
Oh my gosh, guys.
The subscribe button is on top of the video. The comment section is below the video. And the like button is like directly under the video. Just in case you don't know where those are. Because y'all act like you don't know where those are. Because I don't see no likes.
She talks about Mary and then it's off.
Right. I don't see no likes and I don't see no comments. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Yup, I do too.
And April does too.
Yup. Alright, bye guys.
Alright, bye.